Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a really interesting one. It's a project with a strategy that's, well, brilliant, but maybe also incredibly risky. We're talking about Mask Network. You might know it by its token, ASK.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's kind of like a digital Trojan horse, trying to sneak Web3 stuff into the places we already hang out online.
Okay, so that's our mission then, to figure out how this thing works, how it's trying to bridge the gap between, say, X or Facebook and the decentralized world.
Exactly. We need to look at the tech, what it actually does for people, and definitely dig into the big risks involved. Break it down into simple pieces.
All right, let's start with the why. What's the fundamental problem Mask Network is trying to fix? We always talk about Web3 ideals, owning your data, privacy.
Right, but the reality is almost everyone is still on these big Web 2.0 platforms, these walled gardens.
Yeah, your Facebooks, your X's.
Exactly, and those platforms control everything. Your data, what you see, how things are monetized. It's totally against the Web3 ethos.
Okay, so that's problem one, the clash of philosophies.
And problem two is just inertia. People don't want to leave. Building a new decentralized social network is great, but getting people to actually move there.
That's the hard part. You lose your followers, your history, all that stuff you built up. Nobody wants to start over in an empty room.
It's just too much friction. So Mask Network's idea isn't, hey, come over here. It's, we'll bring Web3 to you right where you already are.
Integration, not migration. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Get the tools to the billions already on X or Instagram.
Precisely. It's trying to lower that barrier to entry, like, dramatically. Theoretically, anyway.
Okay, I get the why, but the what? I need a simple picture. What does this software actually do when I install it? Like, how do I suddenly see Web3 on Twitter?
Okay, think of it like this. Imagine the Mask Network extension is a special pair of smart glasses.
Smart glasses, okay.
You put them on, metaphorically speaking, right? And when you look at a site like X through these glasses, the extension adds this invisible layer and overlay right on top of what you normally see.
So X itself doesn't change. It's still X's website underneath.
Exactly. The platform code isn't touched, but your view gets enhanced. The extension injects all these little Web3 tools and features, dapplets they call them, that X doesn't even know are there.
Huh. Sneaky. So it's basically a protocol building a bridge that X never asked for, right between their platform and Web3.
You got it. It's a non-permission bridge built right on their doorstep.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics then. How does this overlay actually work? You mentioned dapplets.
Yeah, so the browser extension is the core engine. It uses content scripts, that's the technical bit, to inject these applets into the page you're looking at.
And what's the first big thing it lets you do? What's the killer app, so to speak?
Privacy. That was the original big idea. It offers client-side, end-to-end encryption.
Client-side, meaning in my browser.
Right, before your post even leaves your computer to go to, say, X's servers, Mask encrypts it.
So X gets the post, but they can't read it. It's just scrambled.
Pretty much. They just see ciphertext, meaningless data. Only other people who have the Mask extension and the right key can decrypt it and actually read what you wrote.
Wow. Okay, so the platform becomes just a carrier for encrypted messages it can't understand. That's a big deal for privacy.
Huge. It gives you back some control over who reads your stuff without having to leave the platform where your audience is.
Okay, privacy makes sense. But Web3 is also big on identity, right? Linking wallets and proving ownership. How does Mask handle connecting my very public X profile to my anonymous crypto wallet? Seems tricky.
Yeah, that's where the second mechanism comes in. Next.id. This is their own protocol for, like, decentralized identity.
Next.id.
It basically creates this verifiable link, a chain of signatures that connects your Web 2.0 handle, like your @name on X, to all your Web 3.0 stuff.
Like my wallet address is maybe an ENS name, NFTs.
Exactly. It ties cryptographic proof of ownership to your social profile.
And how do I see that? Or how do others see it?
Through something called a hover card. If you mouse over someone's username on X and they're using Mask and Next.id, this little card pops up.
Oh, okay.
And it shows their linked wallets, NFTs, whatever they've connected. It's like a little Web3 profile summary attached right there.
Gotcha. Identity sorted. Now, mechanism 3, finance. The sources talk about DeFi tools, a built-in wallet. Why do I need another wallet inside Mask if I already use something like MetaMask?
That's a really good question. It does seem like feature creep, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, the idea is all about reducing friction, making crypto stuff easier inside the social feed. The Mask architecture supports a ton of chains, like over 15 networks compatible with Ethereum system. EVM chains.
Right.
And the built-in wallet isn't really meant to replace your main cold storage or even your MetaMask necessarily. It's more about making quick actions seamless.
So instead of seeing a tweet about a token, then copying the contract address, opening Uniswap in another tab, connecting my wallet, doing the swap, then coming back.
Exactly. You could potentially see a widget right there in the X feed, do a token swap via an integrated DEX, maybe bid on an NFT you see on OpenSea, or even vote on a snapshot proposal for a DAO you follow.
All without leaving X.
That's the goal, all within that same interface. It's trying to create this immersion layer for Web3 finance and governance right where you already are.
Okay, I could see the appeal there. It definitely tackles the convenience angle. So for the average person, someone who's maybe curious about crypto but finds it all a bit complicated, what are the real practical wins here?
I think the biggest one is that one-stop shopping idea. You just cut down on all the navigating between different sites. You read about something interesting on X, maybe a new token, and boom, the option to interact with it, maybe buy it, is right there, or vote on a proposal related to it. No more tab hopping.
Yeah, that constant switching is definitely annoying. What about fees? Gas fees are a nightmare for newcomers.
They thought about that too. There's a feature called Smart Pay. Because Mask supports multiple chains, like Polygon, for instance, it lets you potentially pay the gas fees on that network using the Mask token itself.
Oh, interesting. So I wouldn't necessarily need to make sure I have Matic just for gas on Polygon. I could just use Mask.
That's the idea. It abstracts away some of that complexity, making the whole transaction process feel a bit smoother, especially if you're already holding Mask.
So spoiling it down, I get some privacy back, I can link my identities, and I can do some basic crypto finance stuff more conveniently, all without leaving my main social feed.
That's pretty much the user value proposition, yeah. Regaining a bit of that Web3 data control without sacrificing the Web2 convenience you're used to.
It's a compelling pitch.
You know, this is a great point to quickly pause and remind our listeners of something.
That's right. If you're enjoying how we break down these complex projects into simple pieces and want more reviews just like this, make sure you subscribe to our channel, CryptoBox. We do all the complex research so you don't have to.
Definitely subscribe. Okay, so we've covered the shiny, clever parts.
Yeah, the brilliant Trojan horse strategy. But like any Trojan horse, there's a risk the city walls hold, right? Let's talk about the downsides. The sources mention building a house on rented land. That sounds precarious.
It is. Hands down, the single biggest risk is what we can call existential dependency.
Meaning?
Meaning Mask Network doesn't own the ground it's built on. It completely relies on the technical stability and, crucially, the permission, even if it's just implicit permission of the host platforms like X or Meta.
Right. So if X decides tomorrow, hey, we don't like these crypto widgets, or they just update their website code in a way that breaks the Mask extension,
then Mask is instantly broken or blocked entirely. A simple change to X's API or their terms of service could just wipe out the core functionality overnight. They have zero control over their fundamental execution environment.
unlike projects that build their own platform from scratch, even if it takes longer to get users.
Exactly. Think about something like Farcaster. Slower growth, maybe, but they own the whole stack. Mask shows speed and existing audiences, but the trade-off is this total dependence. It's a huge vulnerability.
Okay, that's a big one. What else? There seems to be this weird paradox with funding versus actual users. Sources say they've raised a ton of money, right? Over $100 million.
Yeah, backed by huge names. DCG, Hashkey, Binance. Serious Tier 1 VCs poured money into this. But the public adoption metrics seem, well, kind of low in comparison. You look at the Chrome Web Store, maybe around 20,000 users listed there. It doesn't quite match the $100 million plus valuation and hype.
That is a big gap. Why do you think that is? Is the product just not quite hitting the mark for mainstream users yet?
It really raises questions about product market fit, doesn't it?
Well,
Maybe the idea of doing DeFi directly in your social feed isn't as appealing to the masses as hoped. Or perhaps even with the easier interface, the concepts of linking wallets, encryption keys, it's still just a bit too complex for the average person right now.
so lots of investment, but maybe the demand isn't quite there yet, or the onboarding still needs work.
Could be. It's definitely an expensive experiment that hasn't fully proven its mass appeal, despite the cleverness of the tech.
Then there's the regulatory angle. Encryption plus easy DeFi access. That sounds like exactly the sort of thing that makes governments nervous.
Oh, absolutely. That's a major red flag. You've got end-to-end encryption potentially obscuring communications, combined with tools for decentralized finance. That combination walks right into the crosshairs of regulators focused on AML, anti-money laundering, and CFT combating the financing of terrorism.
Yeah, governments want visibility into financial flows. And this seems designed to reduce that, at least from the platform's perspective.
Precisely. An encrypted layer facilitating financial transactions, that's practically waving a red cape at regulators, especially in the current climate in the US and Europe. High regulatory risk.
And one last thing, security. If this extension is handling my keys, letting me do swaps, has it been properly audited?
That's another critical point raised in the sources. The core product, the browser extension itself, apparently hasn't undergone a full, comprehensive public security audit.
Oof. That's not great for something handling private keys and money.
Not at all. Given what it does, managing encryption keys, interacting with DeFi protocols, the lack of a public audit is a significant security concern users really need to be aware of. You're placing a lot of trust in unaudited code.
Okay, so dependency, adoption gap, regulatory heat, and security question marks. Definitely not a smooth ride.
Not at all. High potential, but walking a tightrope.
All right, let's try and wrap this up. Give us the quick summary. What is Mask Network in a sentence or two?
Okay. Mask Network is basically this clever open source browser extension. It injects Web3 features like encryption, DeFi tools, and unified identity through Next.id directly onto existing social media sites like X. It acts as this low-friction gateway, trying to bring Web3 to the masses where they already are.
And it seems the project knows its main product, the extension, is vulnerable, right? They're branching out.
Yeah, that's a smart strategic move they're making. It started as just the extension, but now it's building out this whole ecosystem. They have a venture arm, Bonfire Union, and the Mask DAO for governance and treasury management.
So they're diversifying, trying to make sure the whole project doesn't collapse if, say, X shuts down the extension.
Exactly. It's becoming more of an investment vehicle and infrastructure player, reducing its sole reliance on the success and survival of that browser plugin, hedging their bets.
Makes sense.
But it leads us to the final big question, the thought to leave everyone with. Mask's whole play relies on kind of piggybacking off Web 2.0 platforms, right? Extracting value, maybe even helping users bypass some of their rules around content or data.
While giving those platforms very little in return, potentially even causing them headaches.
Exactly. So the question for you listening is, how long will the giants, the X's, the Metas, tolerate this? Will they just let this Trojan horse sit inside their walls indefinitely? Or is a full technical smackdown, a shutdown of the Mask extension, basically inevitable as they defend their territory?
A fascinating dynamic. Building on enemy ground, essentially. Definitely a high-stakes game in the Web3 world.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thanks for breaking down such a complex project. And thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Remember to subscribe for more breakdowns of the complex projects shaping the crypto space. We'll catch you on the next one.